Ego. What the hell is up with engineering students, man? Sometimes it seems like 70% of my classmates have a god complex over their engineering ability while simultaneously performing at the average level, if not below average on exams, homework, and projects. I've met some wonderful people in my time studying engineering, but I've also met so many people who are all the way up their own butt and needlessly competitive about it. Is this normal or is my school just odd? If it is normal, what the heck is it all about? Yeah, interesting. I think that at my school, there really wasn't that present. It was a very small engineering cohort. We started with maybe just under 100 engineering students, and we graduated about 35, 40 engineering students. So we were pretty tight knit. We weren't really that competitive with one another. It's really kind of a collaborative study environment. I'd say that really early on in the engineering degree program, there were some people that kind of had this god complex over their engineering ability, and it's interesting that some of those people ended up being the people that actually dropped out of engineering. Was my perception as, and maybe they were just compensating. Maybe they did engineering classes in high school, or they're good with tools or whatever. They like building things, and they ended up not finishing their engineering degrees. So um, I guess I didn't have this experience. So I guess it's, but I can imagine it would be normal, and I think it's because a lot of engineering students, they were just the best student at their school. Many of them, now not all of them were the best students at their high school, but a lot of them were. They're good at math and science. That's one of the reasons why they pursued an engineering degree for most engineering students. So therefore, they're good in STEM, and that translates usually to academic success in high school, and they're probably good grades. And again, everything in the world is saying STEM, STEM, STEM. So them being good at the STEM, you know, disciplines in high school and early into college, it can give you a little superiority complex over maybe your classmates that are not as good at STEM topics or kind of behind in those things. So I think it's maybe not. I saw the complex over other majors. I definitely was a little bit guilty of that at times, but I've since grown out of that. But yeah, I think it's just they're just used to being good at the things that society has been telling us lately is the things that you want to be good at. So there's a little bit of ego that comes from that. Um, but yeah, I didn't really notice it at my school. Most people were just trying to survive. I will say, and then this is interesting. I saw this in the comment section, and this is interesting. Physics majors, on the other hand, yes, I actually noticed that about physics majors at my school. Not all of them, but I did notice that it's interesting. Physics majors at my school had an interesting complex, like that their degree was more difficult than engineering, and that they're and some of the smartest people I met in college were physics majors. So maybe that's true. But again, same thing that we talked about earlier is just because your major was hard, which I don't think the physics major is harder than the engineering major for many reasons, and I can go into that more in depth if people really want me to go into my reasoning behind that. But just because your major is quote unquote hard, or you think your major is hard, doesn't necessarily lead to employability, which is why, I mean, I know many people that have physics degrees that then have to go get masters in engineering because companies won't hire them to be an engineer, and that's really where the field that they want to work in anyways. So yeah. Also, one of the smartest people I ever met that I've met was on Jeopardy. One of my good friends now. He was a physics major, and he is not does not have an ego about it. And he same thing. He went and got a master's in engineering, and now works as an engineer. Took him a little longer to get his engineering degree and get to work in the field. So I'd say, hey, just if you can, just get the engineering degree, anyways. But yeah, all this to say, no, I didn't really experience this in my school. Maybe you go to like a school where your culture is kind of bad. But most of my classmates were very willing to help one another as long as you weren't just like asking somebody to do things for you, or lazy and trying to like not do your work and then expect somebody else to help you out at the last minute. But yeah, no, I didn't really have that ego issue at my school. I'm really good friends with the people. Not okay, not really good friends, but I'm friends and friendly with the people that graduated at the top of my class, and they were very friendly. And some people in my school were maybe a little bit more defensive of of their time and their efforts. so they maybe be less willing to tutor you because, especially if you hadn't put in the time yourself and you're just coming to them saying, "Hey, can you teach me how to do this?" And they probably would say no, and that's fair. But they're not really an ego complex at my school, so I think it is just your school. All right.
Never losing focus because I ain't chasing payments. Still playing in the basement while I'm working on arrangements. They heard the kid in 50 countries, thank God that's amazing. But I'd rather thank Spotify, they put me on the station.